Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Jada Kellogg's Frosted Flakes Tony the Tiger. Which is interesting because it doesn't actually say his name on the box because it's made to look like Frosted Flakes. So they put that on there. So you didn't buy it on accident thinking it was something it's not. This is a pretty unique release, though it does keep in line with Jada's current offerings in that it is quite a lot for your money. This guy comes in at, I think it's $30 at BBTS. I don't know if that's more than anywhere else. Nowadays, prices are bouncing all over the place, so I don't know for sure. But let's say it's $30 everywhere. It's a lot for your money. You're getting a lot for your money. It's not without its flaws, though, so we're going to talk about all of the good and all of the bad so that you know if you want to buy it by the end of this review. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. It does look like a Frosted Flakes box for the most part. That's pretty cool. I like that. On the back, a little bit less like a Frosted Flakes box, unless that's what they look like. I don't know. I haven't had Frosted Flakes in probably 20 years, but there you go. It's a nice package. It's a premium feeling package for not a premium price point, so that's pretty cool. Figure front and center with all the accessories. It's a nice looking box. Alright, let's move on to the actual figure. This guy is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store if you want to get one. Let me adjust my camera just a little bit here. I'll put a link in the description below if you do want to track one down, which should be easy because I'll give you the link, so very little tracking involved. He stands roughly, we'll call it 6 and we'll just call it 6.5. That's going to kind of split the difference on his ears because his ears kind of stick up. Well, they don't kind of. They do stick up. That's going to be about, let's just call it 16.5 centimeters. Here he is up against Darwin. And there you go. So I don't know how big you think Tony the Tiger should be. If he's supposed to be tiger-sized, he's probably a little small, but you could easily fit him into a Marvel Legends size collection. So there's that. But then we get to the accessories and it kind of throws that off. We'll bring Darwin back when we get to that point. But let's go ahead and get into it. But first, a question of the day. Are you guys into this sort of thing? How many of you are buying these random characters from like cereal or Cheetos or whatever? Like, is it a novelty thing and they're actually good figures, so what the heck? Or are you just like, nah, I don't need that? Or where do you guys fall? For me, I just wasn't into Chester because I don't care, but Tony the Tiger seemed like a fun figure for me for whatever reason, so I figured I'd get one and review it. And I guess we'll see what else they release. Okay. Alright, so aesthetically speaking, it's obviously a brand new sculpt, which is good because according to some companies, brand new sculpts mean you have to charge 2 times as much as you normally do. And it is also literally covered in paint. So, well, I suppose there are some parts that might not have paint, so I shouldn't say literally, but virtually covered in paint. And again, that should warrant a double the usual price point. But it's not, it's just the $30 or maybe even 25 if you're lucky, I don't know about that. But yeah, it's pretty good for your money right off the bat. Let's get into the details though. The orange, it's pretty uniform throughout the whole figure with shading. Again, throughout the whole figure, even on the back. I don't know how obvious it is. I think you can see it on his butt a little bit more and on his arms. But yeah, you get that light shading and it's so subtle and so nicely done on the back of the head. It is on the fronts too, on the shoulders. It's a very subtle paint job. It's very, very nicely done. It brings the figure to life. It's very good. The black paint, pretty darn clean everywhere. Whoops, not perfect. Believe it or not, that little tail joint isn't meant to hold the whole figure up. It's not a perfect paint job with the black, but it's pretty darn clean. No huge problems really stand out. For the face, it's decent. It's not great. It definitely could use a little bit more refinement. The nose is a little sloppy. The eyes aren't perfect. The eyebrows, again, not perfect. If you're not up close in a review, you're probably not going to notice it too much. If you're just leaving it on your shelf, it'll be fine. But you do see some issues. The black transitions on the orange to white for the face, not the best. I really like the way they did the whiskers with, like, I'm guessing those are nylon bristles. It feels like nylon. So that's pretty cool. He does have the cloth scarf, which is a nice addition. They could have just done plastic, but they did cloth and it looks pretty good. And now for the white part. The white part is surprisingly opaque. It looks nice. It's pretty good even on the insides of the hands throughout. Like, they didn't miss any real spots. Unfortunately, the QC in terms of the paint is a bit lacking. Mine has a scuff right here and a big blemish right here. So other than those 2 spots, though, the torso is almost spotless. Forgive the pun. And then we have some more QC with just some black schmutz on there, a chunk missing out of his head back here. Little things like that do take away from the experience a little bit, but really I wouldn't mind if it wasn't for this. This is quite a bummer. So we'll see if maybe they can help me out. I'm guessing they have, they're not going to send replacements for little paint scuffs. But I have one other QC issue we'll talk about later. But generally speaking, it looks really good for such an involved paint job, considering the amount of stripes and the shading and the orange to white to black and all of that. This is a really good paint job for the money. Some companies would have you believe it's simply not possible. That company would be Hasbro. This is really, really nice for 30 bucks. That's an excellent paint job with a few issues. I'm going to go 9 out of 10 for the aesthetic on this guy. The sculpt is great. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. And the paint job is pretty darn good with a few things here and there. Now, as far as accessories go, he comes with a gripping hand and a fist hand on him in the package. Then you get a thumbs up hand and a pointing finger hand. Those are standard hands. Then you get a palm hand for holding the basketball, a pointing finger hand for holding the basketball, and then you get a spoon holding hand where you can remove the spoon if you want, so that's pretty cool. The palm holding hand does hold the basketball, which is a pretty nice basketball, except for the fact that it's not really basketball textured, and they didn't put any paint on it, so it looks a little bit unfinished. A wash would help a lot on that. And then you do get the cereal bowl, which can also go in that palm holding hand, so that's nice. You get a swooshy thing for the basketball to make it look like it's spinning on his finger if you want it. That's surprisingly well done for a little add-on accessory. And then you get a cereal box, which is incredibly well printed. I would say it's even printed better than the new comics for the Marvel Legends, because it's a very similar type of thing. This is really well done, though. It could have just been a black hunk of plastic with printing on just the front, but no, they did the whole thing, and it's incredibly well detailed. Now, the thing I wanted to bring Darwin back in for is you could argue that they are in scale, but then the cereal box is huge, and same thing with the cereal bowl. So I don't know how you want to do that. You can't use those accessories. The basketball is a little bit less, but it's still a little bit big. That's like one of the oversized basketballs to help you shoot. I used to have one of those. They're fun. But it is a little bit too big. So scaling-wise, it's a little questionable, but accessory-wise, that's a lot for the money. And they're pretty well done. Cereal could look a little bit nicer. Basketball could look a little bit nicer, but it's still a good spread. So I will go 9 out of 10 for accessories. And now it's time for the articulation. Will this oddly shaped humanoid be any good? Well, the head is a little bit more limited than you might like, but that's mostly given the cartoon nature of his build and his big cheeks and chin and everything, but it moves around pretty well, and that cloth scarf does a good job of keeping him from scratching himself with his chin on his body, so it does work out okay. Shoulders are standard ball hinge shoulders, plenty of range. No issues there, better than horizontal. They work just fine. You do get your bicep swivel. Now for the elbow joint, they did cut away some of the bicep like they do on a lot of the Street Fighter figures. I don't like that personally. It looks fine when you have the arm bent because that would squish normally. But when the arm's not bent, it does have kind of a faceted look on the bicep. And it's even a little bit maybe more noticeable on this guy than on the Street Fighter figures because of his flat nature, his smooth shapes. Now the problem is his elbows are so stuck. I've been able to get some of the joints to move a little bit, but I can't get them both to work on this side at all. So we're going to see if I can get them to work on this side. This is one of the problems with doing insert molding. People like to say injection molding. Injection molding is how all of this is made. This is insert molding for pinless joints. So this one worked. And you see he has decent range. I still don't think I'm getting it to bend quite all the way. It does get decent range though, so that's good. And then the wrists have a swivel and a hinge. That's pretty much standard. The pointing finger hand, actually a few of the hands have vertical hinges, so that's pretty good. For the torso, this is one of the best. I don't know if it's a double or a single, but either way, the ball peg in there is phenomenal. It works really well. Now granted, he's pretty round, so that helps, but that's how you want to do it. He still leans back farther than forward, but still really nice. And when you mix in this joint, he can go even farther. It works really well. This guy is better articulated than half or more of the Spider-Man figures in the torso that Hasbro has released. And it's Tony the frickin' Tiger. Look at that. It's really, really well done. Now granted, it is easier to do this, but not that much easier. He's not perfectly rounded, but they nailed this. This is, I think, as good as you're gonna get without having some kind of crazy combination of soft parts or something. Now his crotch is soft, but it doesn't make that much of a difference because it's really well engineered anyway. Now for the hips, I don't love the way they did the hips, because when you bring them out to the side, you do get a little bit of a dangly bit. You probably don't want that, and it makes the hips look weird. So that's a little bit off going forward. They don't get the best range, not quite horizontal. And then going back, you do get a decent amount of range. So it's not bad. You do get a thigh swivel on that ball peg, but that's it. For the knee, it's a single jointed swivel. So you can swivel it around, which is kind of annoying, but then you get decent range out of that joint itself, out of the hinge part. So that's all right. And then the ankle is a standard ankle. So the feet go really far forward, really far back, and you get your ankle rocker. So that's pretty good. Unfortunately, I have two of the same foot on my guy. If you guys have this figure, let me know if you have that same issue. But there's one toe that's bigger. I mean, you have the middle toe that's huge, and then you have one toe that's bigger and one toe that's smaller, and the foot is kind of shaped as like a skewed teardrop. Both of mine are the same. They should be opposite each other, so that's unfortunate. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see the shapes there. Probably not. Doesn't matter. I have two of the same foot. It's annoying. The tail does rotate and hinge. It's not bendy, but that's probably fine. So articulation on this guy, it's not the best thing ever. His neck could be a little bit better, I suppose. His elbows could be not stuck. And the hips could look a little bit nicer when they pose, but he's pretty darn posable. I think given the nature of the figure, you're not going to get much better than this. It's really, really good. I'm going to go... I think the arms being stuck is kind of an issue, but kind of not. Like, they'll free up. So I think I'm going to go 9 still. For $30 with a brand new sculpt, with all of this paint and everything and the character design, it just works really well. Really, really well. So yeah, hit a hairdryer on those elbows and you should be fine. And otherwise, you'll be fine. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for the articulation. Let's give him a final rating. This is an excellent release. It's maybe a figure a lot of people don't care about, and I know people are going to be like, yeah, you're getting more for your money because there's not as much licensing fee. Okay, how many more figures do you think Hasbro's selling of Spider-Man, or almost any Marvel character, than Jada is selling of freaking Tony the Tiger? I don't think there's a huge demand for serial mascots as opposed to #1 A-list comic characters. So the licensing argument is just becoming so dull and so insignificant that I don't want to really hear it anymore. This is an excellent value of a figure for $30. Brand new sculpt, load of accessories. This is, by any measure of the word, a maximum release from Jada. So I'm going to give it an overall rating of 9.5 out of 10. There's some room for improvement, and you might not care about the character, but what's here is really nice. Really, really nice for your money. And if you were so inclined to buy this, you will not be disappointed unless you have some kind of terrible QC issue or something like that. But as it stands, it's a really, really good release. So that's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.